No more time for talking. The consultation is almost over. Now the government must decide whether to commission Britain's biggest single building project this century, and it is a massive political decision. The proposed high-speed rail link ploughs right through the Conservative heartlands. The first phase of this multi-billion-dollar project will link London to Birmingham in just 49 minutes, cutting through some of the most beautiful English countryside on the way. Phase 2 would see one line headed to Manchester for a total journey time of 73 minutes and another to Leeds with an 80-minute journey to the capital. This would link into existing services to Scotland, so London to Edinburgh would take just 3.5 hours. A spur would bring Heathrow into the system, cutting out the need for many domestic connecting flights. Another line would connect the existing high-speed line to the Channel Tunnel and onto the continent. The cost, a mere £32 billion, and the high-speed trains to Birmingham won't leave until 2026. Our economics editor Faisal Islam has this report.
The family of Paul Hunt have worked this farm in Kenilworth, Warwickshire for 3 generations. One small railway already breaks up his fields. But soon his property could be cut in half by the 225-mile-an-hour high-speed train linking London and Birmingham.
That's actually about 25 metres, I think, from the house.
The immediate impact of high-speed 2 on those who live close to the route is clear. But can their loss be set against a wider economic gain for the nation, which makes this mega project worthwhile?
I think it'll all come down to money at the end of the day. I find it surprising that we're in such economic difficulties that they can consider spending such a huge amount of money on the scheme.
So if HS2 will affect so many people, why bother? Here's the government's economic case. To build a line and run it for 60 years will cost £44 billion. Fare revenues will raise £27 billion, leaving the government with a £17 billion bill to cover. It calculates the line will create another £44 billion in wider benefits to the economy. So for the government, the sums add up about 2.5 times over. There clearly will be wider economic benefits in the city's plan to have stations. This Birmingham factory won't use the line to move its products, but the boss here says quicker links and less congestion will help.
It's going to provide a lot of revenue into local businesses and growth. I see it as a tremendous opportunity. I spend a lot of time in China and I've seen China move into high-speed rail. And you can see the growth as the rail goes, as your infrastructure goes, then the business chases it.
Britain does have an HS1 here in Kent. It's halved journey times to Ashford, but there are lessons about rather overheated forecasts. A high-speed train whizzes through a British town, a rather rare sight on this island. This Britain's existing network of high-speed lines, just 68 miles long. That compares with 3,500 miles across continental Europe, thousands more miles being built in Asia. But is this reason, national pride, reason enough to extend the network out to Birmingham, Manchester and Leeds? What about value for money? The lesson of this line, that governments and train companies tend to overestimate demand for this type of travel. The government's numbers only have to be slightly wrong on stellar passenger growth, and the cost to taxpayers would rocket, ripping apart the economic case for HS2. However, on HS1 you see the other side of this, that high-speed rail is the potent weapon for changing the geography of Britain's economy. Not that you can put a price on that.
The high-speed train was the reason the key reason we came, really, because I work in London. I've got to get up to London, but we've got 3 small children and we like the idea of kind of village life, which is quite accessible here.
It is possible that these houses here may need to be demolished, but it's a terrace.
But for some on the route of HS2, moving has become more difficult. Lottie Jones in suburban Ruislip says her home, along with many others, faces years of uncertainty and blight from the scheme.
We bought that home in order to extend it and make it into a bigger family home. We can't now do that. We are living in absolute limbo. And there's very little in the way of compensation being offered to us.
The government's looking at a new scheme, a compensatory bond, where homeowners can transfer the promise of compensation to people that might buy their house. In theory, it could underpin house prices in the affected areas. Overall, the economics of HS2 are uncertain. This is a piece of politics with winners and losers in very different places and at very different times.